Hola amigos, this is Somveer and welcome back to CodePipe. Currently, we are inclined towards learning front-end libraries and frameworks. So today, we will start with the simplest project that we can do using JavaScript. And what we are going to build today is a simple calculator. Let me show you what we are going to achieve. So this is what our final product will look like. As you can see, this is a simple calculator. Let's test it. This is working fine. We can clear it. We can add decimal numbers. We can use the clear button. So let's see how we can build this. We are using Visual Studio Code for our code editor, and I have already opened this calculator folder. Before starting to code, let me tell you two extensions that you want to install on your VS Code. First one will be Live Server. As the name suggests, we can use this to run our server, using which we can run our JavaScript outside of the browser. The second extension I want you to use is Prettier. It will help us format our code. Once this is installed, we can go to Settings, File, Preferences and Settings, and here we need to search for Formatter, and here we need to select Prettier Code Formatter. There are many other available, but we need to go for Prettier Code Formatter. And just below this, there should be this Format on Save. What this will do is, whenever we are saving our file, it will format our code using this Prettier Code Formatter. So these two extensions can be very beneficial for us. With this installed, let's start our code. Here I will make a index.html file. I will use the autocomplete feature of Emmet, which will give me the basic HTML format. Here I will change this to calculator. Inside the body, I will paste a table, and the table will consist all the buttons that we will catch in our JavaScript file. Let's save this. Let's create one more file that will be style.css, and inside this I will give some styling to my HTML page. Again, let me paste some code here. You can give your own formatting and styling to your HTML page, it's up to you. But if you want to use this file and this style, you can find it in the description link that will redirect you to a GitHub profile. So let me not get into the styling part and quickly create a new file here that will be script.js, and this is the main file where we want to achieve everything. But before writing this script, let me add this style and script to our HTML page. That should be rather simple. Below our meta tags, I will link a sheet for CSS, and we are using style.css, so I will keep it as it is. Then I will link my script file, and here for the source I will say script.js. One thing to note here is we are using the script on the top of file, so here we need to load it asynchronously. So I will use differ here, which means this script file and all the other files will load simultaneously, not one after another. If you are keeping a script file on the top and you are not able to use your JavaScript coding, because you might not be calling your file asynchronously and you are not able to use your JavaScript. So have a look out for this. Now before starting our JavaScript file, let's see how it is looking. We can use this go live extension that we have installed just now. If you are not able to see this here, you can always press Alt plus L, then Alt plus O. It will start the server at port 5500 and it will open the Chrome. So this is what our index.html file will look like. And now we can see we are pressing the buttons but nothing is happening, which means we are on the correct folder and we are on the right path. So let me keep it at one side and keep our VS Code on one side so that it is easy for us. Now comes the main part. You can get the code and everything from online, but what I want you to learn from this video is always to make logic on your own so that you can use the resources on internet to develop the logic that you are developing. For that, what I do is I will create a file with the name logic.txt, and here I will keep all my logic that I want to develop. It might change during the programming, but this should be the first step that we always do so that we have a clear idea what we want to do. So here I will put some text. This is a calculator, so it will not require a lot of logic. If I remove this bar, so here we can see the simple logic, each button and the operator buttons. These are the buttons 1 2 3 4 5 6. The operator buttons will be divide, multiplication, subtraction, addition. AC button will clear the area, C button will clear one input or one number from the area, and the equal button will evaluate the input that is available in our area. So with this logic in mind, let's start our script. First of all, we will write use strict, and once we save this, we can see we are getting the double quote. For that, we will need to create a new file here that will be dot retir rc, and here we will put this so that we are only getting single quote, not the double quote. Let's save this, and now if we save our JS file, we should get only single quotes. We are using use strict here so that we don't accidentally start using undeclared variables in our script. Now first of all, I will declare all these buttons that will look something like this. I understand that I should be writing the code by myself, but I'm using copy paste option to make the video shorter while providing all the information. Now all the buttons and input area is initialized. First of all, we will make a input value variable. So this will be our empty string to join all input to, because at the end this is an input area and we will be getting a string. Using the string, we will use the evaluation method. So we are using a variable with an empty string on which we will add all the input that we are putting through the buttons. Now first thing what I want to do is, whenever I click any button, especially the number buttons, value should be entered here. For that, let me add event listeners to all these buttons, and here I have number buttons where I am using query selector all using the class btn which I have added in the HTML file. Using this query selector all, I will get all the number buttons. Now to add event listeners to all of this, I will need to use for each, that will look something like dot for each. Since we are having a collection of buttons, for each method which is basically for arrays, it will work here. So here I will make this button. Inside this loop, now we have the button element with us. So on this we can say add event listener. Here we want to listen on click, and what we want to do is we want to provide a function that will do something. This something will be when I click on this button, it should be added into this input area. For that, I will use this. I'm using this input value variable where I'm adding this dot text content. This will give me the value that is pressed. This here is referring to the button, and text content is the value of the button. Now we will use this input value into our input area dot value. So I will make our input area dot value is equal to input value. Let's save this and let's try. If I click 5, it is adding to this, so which means it is working. After this, I want to use the same thing for our operator buttons. So I will use the same logic where I'm using for each loop for the option buttons. I'm adding a event listener on the clicks, but here I'm using a space between the input value and the other input value. Let me show you what it means. Let's save this. And here if I use 52 minus something, here you can see the space between minus on both sides. So this is what this string means. Now let me add event listeners for this AC button and clear button. For the AC button, this will be the event listener. As we are using only a single query selector and we have a single button, so I can directly use add event listener here, and I will make input area dot value, which means whatever the value we have here, that will be 0, and input value that we are instantiating in our JavaScript file, which is this one, to blank, which is its initial value. Let's save this and test it. If we are typing anything and if we click on AC, it is making it 0, which means it is working. Now for the clear button, the event listener will look something like this. First of all, we will check if the length of this input area value is 1, we want to make it 0 and input value as blank. But if it is more than 1, let's say we have 4 or 5, we just want to remove this last character. So that logic we are implementing here. If the input area value length is equal to 1, we are making the input area dot value, which is this value, as 0, and input value on which we are adding all the input strings should be blank. In the else section, which means if the length is more than one character, we are using the slice option on the input area value, which is basically a string, and we are removing the last character from our string, and we are putting the string into our input area. Let's save this and try it out. So if we are putting more than one character and use clear, it is clearing one variable. and on the last digit, if we click on clear, it is making it 0, which means it is working fine. Now comes the main part where we evaluate all the string that we are inputting here. So for the event listener for equal to button, there is this cool feature in JavaScript that is inbuilt. We just need to use a eval function, and it will take the string that we are giving it, and it will give us the math representation or the mathematical value of the evaluation. And once we get the evaluation, we will make our input value to blank again. Let's save this and test again. If we say 52 plus 6, it should be 58. It is working. Let's try something else. 12 minus 2, it should be 10. With this, our first JavaScript project of a simple calculator is now complete. You can find the link of the source code in the description. Let me show you something that I was talking at the start of video. That is, if we go to our index.html and if we remove this differ from here, if we save this and check our browser, it is not working because our JavaScript file is not loaded. But if we again input differ here and save this, now we can see our calculator is working. So this is also an important point that we should keep in mind. Also, if you are a Django developer, I have a course live on Udemy which is for complete website development using Django from scratch to hosting. Please check it out. The link is in the description. Throw a thumbs up if you like the video. That will really help us reach more viewers. If you are coming here for the first time, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell to not miss out any videos. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Check out my other videos that are on the screen right now. We will meet very soon with a new video. Until then, this is Somveer taking your leave. Adios.